Welcome back to another episode of The Can. I'm your host, Terry, and today I just want to do a quick look at the culture of fanboyism between Marvel and DC and kind of talk about the core issue that sparked that. As we listen to some of the people on YouTube and then other spaces, podcasts, TV shows, articles, whatnot, that kind of talk about the movie space, over and over again, I kind of see people that are baffled or just extremely perplexed by fanboy culture or why people act like fanboys. And to me, it's a very simple explanation. So I just wanted to kind of go into that, at least from my perspective. I could be wrong. That's the best part. I get to say what I think and then hear other people's opinions. But as far as fanboy, I'm talking about the current use of fanboy. So I don't want people to be offended. If this isn't applying to you, then we're not talking about you. We're not talking about people that like something. We're talking about people that blindly like all products just because it was made by someone, or they blindly hate all products because it was made by someone else. We're talking about people that cannot be reasoned with. You can't use logic with them. If it's their product, they're going to love it. There's no issues with it. Having issues with it is a sign of not being a real fan. And if the product comes from the other team, then you hate it. And there's nothing to like about it. We can't praise it. It's automatically bad. Those are the people we're talking about with fanboys. The people that go onto trailer videos on YouTube and downvote positive messages in the comment section just because, or troll people in the comment section talking about how much the movie is going to suck, or they go and watch trailers for their product over and over and continue to use other accounts to upvote it just so it seems like it's a positive thing. Those are the type of people we're talking about. The people that want to rally together and go on other sites for audience scores and downvote things because it doesn't fall in line with their product. Those are the people we're talking about. And so if that's not you, it's definitely not aimed at you. If you're someone that can go see an MCU movie, a few weeks later, turn around and go see a DCU movie and enjoy yourself both times, or go see a Fox movie and enjoy yourself and look at the flaws in the positives and see it as a piece of art, then we're not talking about you. You're not one of those fanboys. So now that we talked about what a fanboy is, let's get into it. And it's a very simple answer. And I hear people all the time just, I don't get fanboys. I don't understand it. And I'm not a fanboy myself. So I'm not saying that this is coming from my perspective, but it's a very simple answer for anybody that's kind of, been around long enough to follow it. And that is, it stems back to the comics. Marvel versus DC and these fanboys stem back to the comics, where you have, historically, I won't say all the time, because of course there's different writers and artists that have worked for both, and they take talent from each other all the time. Even some of the OG creators created for both companies. So just historically, I'll say this. You have one company that has created a certain type of character in a certain type of world, and you have a company that created something slightly different in the tone and everything else. And naturally, as people, we don't all follow the same thing. So certain people are drawn more to the Marvel side. Some people are drawn more to the DC side. Just without getting into too many details, you look at Marvel, and Marvel has always had this more science-based type of heroes, where you look at them kind of being normal people until something scientific happen, whether it's the Hulk and gamma rays, Bruce Banner and gamma rays, whether it's Steve Rogers and the super soldier serum, where there's Iron Man building his iron suit, and X-Men pretty much have powers, but they talk about it as a mutated gene, things of that nature. And then again, it doesn't apply to everybody, but overall, it seems to be more regular type people, normal people that dabble in something scientific that then creates them to be great. And then on the other side, you got a more blatant God type characters that are naturally gifted some way or somehow. Now, there's different characters like a Green Lantern, not naturally gifted, but his natural traits earned him the ring, which isn't science. That thing's pure power from the aliens. So, and then of course Superman, who was an alien on Earth, and because of that, he has tremendous powers. And then Wonder Woman, who at first was just the Amazon, now they're, kind of playing with the demigod thing. Flash was a scientific thing, but then you throw in Speed Force and how it kind of chose them. So there you go. My point. Nothing makes one inherently better than the other. But again, as humans, we just kind of gravitate towards one, maybe more than the other. And it's not across the board. Some people like them equally. Some people like Marvel a little better, DC a little better. And then you got the hardcore extremists, as we always do. And so what it boils down to is basically is pretty much like a sports fanatic culture where you're going for your home team because I like them and I'm going to justify liking them, or every point that I can, I'm going to look to justify liking them. And by that, as a fan, you want them to win because then you can, for whatever reason, I guess vicariously or, feel like you having your loyalty rewarded, whatever. You want them to win so you can say, ha, we are the best fans. We picked the right team. But the issue with stuff like this is that it's art, and art is subjective. So when we're talking about stories, comics, movies, anything else, there's no real score. And so that's when people kind of have to find whatever they can that is objective and say, ha, this is a win for us and a loss for you. Because in sports, of course, I can say, hey, I'm a such and such fan. We can always look at the record and the championships and, there's actual tangible evidence. But when it comes to art forms, it's subjective and you rarely can find something to prove your point. And so it all goes back to people having certain tastes for one and feeling like they need to justify their taste by looking for different things to say, ha, Marvel is better or ha, DC is better. And it's been like that for a long time for the extremists. And, of course, you got people in there that's a friendly rival. And then you got fans that take it too seriously. And so there's fans that say, man, you know what? I really dig Marvel. I keep wanting to say Justice League. DC didn't really do it for me. But you know what? I'm going to rock with Marvel, and now whatever DC comes out with, even, in the future, I'm not going to like it because I'm a Marvel guy, like Chevy and Ford. I'm a Chevy guy. I mean, I live in Chicago, or the Bears versus the Packers. I know what rivalries look like. So that's kind of what it is. But then, like I said, since you don't have a scoreboard, you start looking at things. And typically comics, that's an argument. No one can be right. But then you start talking about comic book sales. So now we got some objective numbers. Look, we're more popular because we sell more than you guys ever sell. Or this hero's more popular because he sells more than that hero. And so now we got tangible numbers. And then over the years, it just continues to expand through the different mediums. So we got TV shows. Ha, this TV show is doing better than that TV show. We got toys. Ha, these toys sell better than that toys. And then you start getting direct to DVD movies or whatever. Ha, this movie sells more than this. And then eventually we got to the big screen. And it's significant. Some people say, well, if it's been through so many different mediums, why does it matter? Why is this so different? Why is this more toxic? And that's easily answered because with the movies and the big screen, that's the biggest platform. Yes, other things have their platform, but with movies, not only is there a lot of money into it and a lot of big name stars that have platforms and are well known, it has the most marketing. It's the biggest, as far as commercials, billboards, and putting their product out there. And what that does is that attracts people who aren't playing one side or the other. And when that happens, the fans get more active because they're trying to win over people. Because before the movies, were a thing, it's kind of just, we're going against each other. This is kind of our thing. If I know somebody that's a Marvel guy and I'm a DC guy, I can find them and, we can have that war. Or if we know somebody that's in the middle, we can argue and have that war. But now, because nobody's looking at it, the people who looked at comics and the people that bought toys or whatever. But now that it's a movie and it's being marketed to the masses, now it's like, okay, this is a bigger game. And then, of course, with the internet, you have access to more people. So you can continue to do more things for more people to see and hopefully join your cause, air quotes. So, and I don't think it's serious like a cult recruitment, but some people do think, I want to make my points and arguments and win people over. And so when you got a battle to justify your taste, which is flawed in the beginning, but when you've been doing that and you train to do that and you continually looking for things to say, we win at this, and you get one of the biggest, forms of entertainment with your product on it, of course it's going to get ugly. And so naturally, we know what happened with the MCU and Marvel and how successful it's been. And you got the people that were Marvel for life really get obnoxious about it. And I'm not saying they started it. Again, this has been going on before. But there's people that are happy Marvel is successful. There's people that are happy to see their product on the big screen. And then there's people that want to go talk crap about DC. Even when DC wasn't making anything, there's people that want to go talk crap and say how they beat DC. And then, of course, you got the people with Dark Knight that wanted to talk crap about Marvel and then on and on. So really, this just gave them the biggest platform that they've had in a while. And so when we're talking about this fight, this constant fanboyism, it's really just a fanatic culture of trying to say, hey, this is my preference. This is what I like. I picked a side. And I want to justify that at every corner that I can. And it does get toxic because much like movies in general, or any type of real form of art that's subjective, when people don't like what you like, you can take it as a personal attack on your taste, your character, your IQ, whatever it is. And so you feel that, well, since they think that is stupid and I love it, they must think I'm stupid. And that's a flawed way to think. And that's a bigger conversation. But that's what we face, especially in the internet age where everybody's looking for constant validation. And so this fanboy culture just kind of clashed at the right time. It was a perfect storm. And so we got one side trying to point out every second, hey, we got this movie's doing this, we broke this record, and we got the other side that may not be doing so well, or at least in the public opinion, which is also the issue, is that people have abandoned their thoughts and really just looked at what's the mass reaction. Because you got people recently talking about DC fans come together to downvote Black Panther in retaliation to Disney paying off critics and blah, 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 and hurting the DCU. And so in that thought, whether you like it just because it's DC or you like it because you like it, you're still showing that you're bothered by the mass reaction to it and the critical reaction to it. So you're saying that I can't enjoy just liking it and then, having that. I have to make sure I go out and do things until everybody likes it. And that's kind of a weak mindset that these fanboys have. And it causes some toxic things where, like we said, with these protests, with these petitions, with these groups trying to do this and that. And it's not just Marvel versus DC, but that's the biggest one. And they have the most presence because it's like, and some people are trolls. Don't get it wrong. Some people really aren't fanboys. They're trolling as fanboys just because they know it makes people mad. But there's real people that go out there. If you say anything positive about Marvel, their favorite thing now is you got paid by Marvel. And if you say anything positive about DC, you got paid by DC. And it's silly. And it's real. I mean, even if you listen to this, you know this is a small channel. I've had people accuse me of that. Me. I'm like, you think they're paying me with 5 views a video? Like, some people just take these things to heart and they really see their allegiance to one side as their preference. It's not so much fans, sports fans, where you either pick a team randomly for whatever reason or you grow up with that because of your city. It's not really a preference. They're all playing the same sport. They all make, the people that are making decisions or playing for your team won't be there in 10 years. So it's not like, I like our brand of sports. It's going to change all the time. It's not really a preference. It's just kind of an allegiance. And some fanboys some people think fanboys are just doing that, but they're not. Their allegiance comes from their taste, from their preference. They preferred and chose this side because of the IP and the characters, and they treasure it. It means something to them. It connects with them. It is something that they grew up with, and it's a big part of their life. And so they feel attacked when people aren't also praising it. And that's not the way to go, but it is deeper than your just regular fan or fanatic culture. So really, that's kind of what it boils down to. Of course, it's not going to stop. I don't see any way you're really going to stop it. But that is what is seated in. It's deep seated in these characters and in these properties. People want to see those things succeed because it is more so in line with what they wanted in their taste. And so some people can kind of understand that, but the way they go about it is wrong, which is usually the most case with things in the world. So that's where our fanboy culture comes from. So I would love to hear what you think. That's the best part. Go to the comment section. Tell me if you agree. Tell me if you think, or if you disagree. Tell me if you think fanboy culture stems from something else. Go ahead, let me know what you think about fanboy culture. Thumbs up, subscribe, and if you heard it, it's official canon.